What if the real reason your business isn't growing isn't your offer? It's that there's not enough people that are actually seeing you. In this episode of Profit with a Plan, we're going to be breaking down the truth about visibility and why it's not about posting more, shouting louder, or chasing trends. It's about showing up with intention so your brand becomes remembered and not overlooked. You'll hear how a simple visibility structure can help you show up with confidence, communicate clearly, and turn attention into real business growth. And we're getting into practical ways to create consistent visibility without exhausting yourself or diluting your message. So, if you're tired of feeling like you're the best kept secret in your industry, you're ready to become known, seen, and sought after, well, this conversation is going to hit home. So, tune in to Profit with a Plan, and your next level of visibility starts right here. Hey, entrepreneurs, if you're working too hard for too little profit, well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we help you scale smarter, increase profitability, and build a business that's worth more, whether you keep it or sell it. I'm Marcia, Riner, business growth strategist and profit booster behind Infinite Profit. I've helped countless entrepreneurs to turn their businesses into highly profitable and sale-ready assets, so they enjoy more income now and a bigger payday later. So join me for strategies, practical strategies, expert insights, and proven steps to make your business more profitable, more valuable, and built to last. By the way, today's episode is sponsored by Infinite Profit, where we don't just talk profit, we deliver it. But before we dive in, I've got something really special for you. If you're tired of flat revenues or marketing that just doesn't pay off, my new Profit Booster Growth Map might be for you. In just a few minutes, it'll show you exactly how you can bring in more qualified clients and plug those profit leaks that are eating away at your cash. So get your Profit Booster Growth Map right now at profitbooster.biz and start turning those missed revenues into real money. All right, let's jump in with today's episode. My guest today is Tori Barker. Tori is a strategic marketing consultant and the CEO of Creative Marketing, where she helps service-based entrepreneurs to move from being overlooked to being in demand. Known for her ability to blend clear strategy with genuine connection, she builds visibility systems that help brands get seen, remembered, and chosen. She is also the host of the Visibility Strategies for Women Entrepreneurs podcast, yay, where she shares practical guidance and real-world success stories that help founders show up with confidence and turn attention into growth. Tori is recognized by her 4C Visibility Framework, which is a simple but powerful approach to helping business owners communicate clarity, stay consistent, and convert visibility into meaningful results. Her work is grounded, empathetic, and built around helping entrepreneurs to rise without losing their voice. Yay, Tori, I'm so glad to have you on my show today. Welcome.
Marcia, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, this is great. And I love the fact that, you're also a podcast host, which I love so much because this is such an important and powerful tool
Yeah.
and method to help get people some more visibility. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we could be part of the same community on this.
Yeah, thank you. It's kind of funny to be on the other side of the mic, right?
Right? It's really weird, huh? So hey, how did you get into the visibility side of helping people grow? Why is that so important?
Yeah, I'll tell you the origin of where this came from because it's kind of a fun journey, and I think it's meaningful to share. So I came from a background of 15 years in the corporate marketing space, and in about 2019, I was kind of looking around. I was working in corporate and hadn't really found a good fit. I was ready for something new, and I wanted to be
Mm.
innovative and creative and think outside the box and help more people and do all the things that
Big corporate doesn't let you do.
that corporate doesn't let you do. That entrepreneurs are passionate about. Which at that time I didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur, and so I started my own business in 2019 as a digital marketing agency. And I started a podcast at the same time, which you'd mentioned. I have a podcast now. And so this is like the third or fourth iteration of podcasting for me over the past 5 or 6 years. And so I started my business, and I was doing all of the things that I had learned and the experience that I had, been able to help my corporate career, and it was fulfilling and it was amazing. And then the journey of entrepreneurship started to get a little rocky.
Mhm. You think?
And yeah,
It's always smooth, isn't it? With
it
roses and rainbows and lots of
absolutely
money
not.
coming
No,
your way.
absolutely not. Which is funny. I say I accidentally started a business and I had no intention of becoming an entrepreneur. I didn't have entrepreneurs in my family. And so it was
Mm.
something that was totally new to me. And so I was, riding this excitement wave of being an entrepreneur and starting a business and doing digital marketing. And I was focused on digital marketing, right? Because that's my craft, my technique, my service. And then about a year ago, I started hearing chatter from people that I was talking to, and everyone kept on saying, like, I feel like I'm the best kept secret, but nobody
Mm.
knows who I am. I want to be seen, I want to be heard. But I don't know how to do that. And so I kind of started reflecting and thinking about all of the new things coming into the marketing arena, whether it's technology or AI or other marketers and different approaches to everything. And so I felt this calling towards visibility because everyone kept saying I want to be seen. And so I thought, okay, what does that really mean? And so for me, that's visibility. And marketing is the tool that is the catalyst for that visibility. So
Mm.
I took that pause, and kind of was like, what's the new direction for my business for the next 5 years? And so I started shifting the language around what I do and not leading with, I can do XYZ marketing for you, but it's more about the holistic outcome or the approach or the value that you want to bring or be seen. And so that's visibility. And so I've started shifting that perspective to really help people with a visibility strategy that's unique and specific to them, because I think that's another misnomer that, a lot of marketing agencies have these cookie cutter like
Oh, yeah.
plan A, plan B, package B.
You
But
need paid ads. Oh, you need
yeah,
a funnel. You need. And it's like, yeah, the cookie cutter approach is terrible.
yeah. And so, it has to be unique and it has to be custom because everybody is unique and custom in their own way. And so that's what's led me to this visibility approach because, I think it's so important for people to have that visibility because, there's companies out there who are doing amazing things that could be doing even more amazing things if they were just known a little bit more. So that's a
Mm.
passion of mine, is to help them be found, to be seen, to be heard, to be visible.
I love it. What a refreshing angle to marketing. Because when you take down the nuts and bolts, it's still the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Because when you're
absolutely.
marketing, you're trying to be seen by your ideal customer
Yeah.
and get them to move into your buying cycle or whatever it is. But going with the approach of the visibility, it's fresh.
Yeah.
And it's good because, like you said, we little people get overlooked, and it is a very, very crowded place, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's different, like you said, marketing is still behind the scenes, right? That's the tactic that you use. But when you lead with the intention or the outcome being visibility, I think
Mm.
it changes the perspective and it gives a fresh new approach to everything because then you're thinking of it from a whole new lens versus like, oh, I'm just going to do SEO or I'm going to run paid ads. Like it's a whole different mindset when you start talking to somebody about, why we're doing what we're doing and how what we're doing is going to get us to that visibility, pinnacle.
I love it. And so define what you mean by visibility, because some people might be listening going, well, I'm shy. I don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
I don't want to, so visibility doesn't always mean, hey, look at me, right? Here's my
Right.
face.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of visibility is that it doesn't have to be one type of thing, right? So it doesn't have to be video marketing. It doesn't have to be podcast marketing.
Well, it should.
It should, no. But there's so many different ways to be visible. So, we talked about video marketing, right? Podcasting is amazing. That's my visibility platform. But then there's also even just your website can be a visibility tool, right? Setting up your website in a way that it can be seen and found, that can be your visibility tool. You can do paid ads if that's your visibility tool, speaking on stages, writing a book, networking, webinars. Like there's so many different ways of doing it. And so that's why I love it so much, because it pulls in that marketing, but then it's custom to what makes sense for the business and for the individual who's running the business or who's, trying to be seen.
Well, thank you for sharing that because that really takes the stress out of being visible and seen, right? It's your business that needs to be seen by your ideal customer
Yeah.
so that they, A, know you exist, right?
Yes.
And B, can start to, I love this term and I got it from one of my mentors, that they can start to fall in love with you
Yeah.
and what you do and how you do it and why you do it and what benefit goes to them. But again, you can be that best kept secret with the greatest opportunities for your ideal customer. But if they don't know you exist, then you're stuck and
Yeah.
you're in all terms, you're screwed, right?
Yeah,
You don't
pretty
have a
much.
business because your ideal customer's not finding you.
Yeah. Well, and I think one thing that's important, and I always talk about this with visibility, because there, I say there's two layers of visibility. There's the internal visibility, and then there's the external visibility.
Huh.
And I think it's really important for people, like we said, who maybe feel uncomfortable being visible or being on camera, that sort of thing. And so when I work with my clients, I always talk about that internal visibility as our leading point in the first place that we need to look, because we need to understand, why are you trying to be visible? Are you comfortable with being visible? Because when you put yourself out there, there's going to be people who are going to see you. That's the point of it, right? So you have to go through sometimes these own like internal blockages that you have of like, what's been holding me back? Why haven't I been visible? And kind of get
Mm.
to the root of maybe what's been holding you back in the past. And even if that specifically talks to like a solopreneur or a single leader business, but on the corporate side or a larger business structure, the internal visibility can be your team, right? So
Mm.
that can be the customer service person, the sales rep, the marketing coordinators, like any of those roles. You still need to get clarity, and you have to get everyone on board so that once you're truly visible, everything's aligned. Because if you show up on that second layer of external visibility without being authentic and true to who you are and what your brand is, people are going to smell you out, right? They're
Ah,
going to be like, oh, they say they do this, or they say they're trustworthy, but maybe they don't feel that from the brand. So you really have to understand and tie those internal, external visibility together, because that's where the true impact is going to come from.
Oh, see, I never thought to look inside, right?
Yeah.
We always go, okay, here's our brand, here's our logo, here's our colors, here's our message, here's what we're doing in the community, all those external things. But if
Yeah.
it doesn't align with what, what is that saying, right? If it looks like a duck and talks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's probably a duck, right? But if
Yeah.
if you have to match everything together
Yep.
to
Yeah.
be on point so that your ideal customer can actually start to feel that from you.
Yep.
And we all know the ones that wear the mask, right? That say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm da 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 da," I'm superhero, right? But then
Right.
when you get behind the curtain, you really see that they're, not that.
Yeah. Or, one of the other reasons that, I am so passionate about my approach to marketing is because of the horror stories I've heard about other marketing companies out there, the false promises, the I
Mm.
can get you 10,000 leads or viewers, or like these like
Sure, and
massively
they're
inflated.
all in India, right? Which
Right,
is
like
not
these
your ideal
inflated
customer.
numbers. And it's like, oh my gosh. And it's unfortunate that people, they they fall into that trap, and they have false hope that
Mm.
this is going to work, because they're just trying to be seen. They're like grasping for that visibility. And so I'm so passionate about talking about the truth, like being honest and like
Mm.
being straightforward and strategic, because you have reality in your approach. Not it's not all roses and sunshine.
Rainbows,
there's
right?
there's going to be hard times when it comes to marketing. Sometimes you're going to have to pivot. Sometimes you're going to have to,
Mm.
take another approach. And
Right.
that's the beauty of what we do, is that you can pivot, you can, you know, reshift and recalibrate, because that's, you have to. I mean, the
Yeah.
consumer is making changes, the consumer behavior is changing, our economy is changing. Like there's just so many exterior, factors that you have to be able to be nimble as a business as well. So you can't set one visibility plan or marketing strategy at the beginning of the year and expect it to be the same at the end of the year.
Exactly. Exactly. The ebbs and flows. And that's why we're both strategic. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
really big into planning. It's a quarterly review. Let's see where we are, what we're on point. Should we shift to the
absolutely.
right? Should we shift to the left? Because
Yeah.
rarely are we going to stay, on point and direct. So I think that that's super valuable.
I mean,
But
it
you
would be
hit
a
me
whole
with
lot easier if we could, but
right? Not reality, folks. That's not going to
it's
happen.
not going to happen.
Exactly. So you hit me with a point that really got to me is the shift and the change, right?
Mm,
I'm thinking, and confirm this if I'm correct, that
yeah.
adding more visibility or changing your visibility is very, especially in today's environment with technology and AIs and all these neat things, that we can shift easier and quicker, almost on a dime, right? And
Yeah.
and post something that has a little bit of what you want or the change that you're looking for, right? You're nimble.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you can definitely be more nimble and quick to react to certain trends or shifts because of technology, right? Like, I mean, you could have a point or a thought, and you could literally just hit record on your phone or on your camera and say, listen, this is what's going on in the media right now. They're talking about XYZ, and here's why you should do it or you shouldn't do it, whatever it might be. And you can post that. And then you have your audience right there at your fingertips. Literally, you're in their pocket, right? And
Yeah.
so there
And
are
we're all
advantages.
on social media one way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
Yeah.
So if we can get visibility and it's free, if we can get visibility that way by being a thought leader,
Absolutely.
then that's even one more way of saying, hey, I'm the expert and thought leader in my industry, and here's what I'm thinking. And I
Yeah.
bet you $1 your ideal customers are thinking the same thing. Oh, what does this mean for
Yeah.
me? Hey, quick pause here. If you've ever wondered what your next smartest move should be to grow your business, well, I've built something for you. It's called the Profit Booster Growth Map. It takes only about 2 minutes. It's totally free and it shows you exactly where you're leaving money on the table and what to fix first. Go grab it for free at profitbooster.biz/growth map. Then come right back to the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think,
Amen.
being this is something that I'm learning in my own personal journey, is that sharing your own thoughts and perspective is really valuable, right? Because not everyone is going to think exactly like you or have the same approach as you. And in a sea of like-minded, entrepreneurs or businesses, you are going to stand out to the right audience and to the right client and to the right customer, but you have to speak up first. And that
Oh,
can be
yeah.
literally with your voice, or it can be in written form. So there's different ways of doing that, but you have to share your own unique perspective, because people will resonate with that.
And I think that's really good. I know a lot of the smaller, the micro-sized businesses that you and I work with very often, they have this fear of being missed if they take a stand
Mm,
on this or that, right?
yeah.
Oh, the typical, oh, I'm a dentist. If you've got teeth, I can help you. No, you know, I think with this kind of visibility is that you can always find more people that, like you said, align with what you're
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
and what you stand for and your product and your pieces.
Yeah, and sometimes it's even like the things that don't even apply to your business, right? Like like I can be a marketing person talking about what I do for marketing and visibility. And I can even share that I'm a mom. I have two boys, right? And so somebody who looks at two marketers or visibility strategists who is also a mom who has two boys may, you know, lean towards me because we have that in common, right?
Mm.
So that's also part of the package too, is that kind of pulling back or pulling back that veil, right? The curtain behind, showing your
The Oz,
ahs.
right?
Yeah. And, telling a little bit about who you are personally, because we don't just do business with businesses, we do business with people.
Mm.
And so I think people resonate more with people, and it's the human to human connection that you have to really engage in.
And I think that that's a great point because we do connect with humans when we make our decisions, right? Because I promise you, listeners, that you're not the only person out there with your thing, right?
Yeah.
That's doing your thing. So there is competition. And when buyers are buying, they're not always buying based solely on price. They may be looking for quality. They may be looking for ease of delivery. They may be looking at trustworthiness. They may even be looking at, gee, I think I want to support a mom with two boys,
Yeah.
right? And yes, I promise you, they are thinking of this in many ways. So if you can check off more boxes
Yeah.
than your competitor or different boxes than your competitor, and then they may choose you over. Once we're talking about a leveled playing ground, right? So you
Absolutely.
have to have high quality, you have to be, in price range, you have to have all these things.
Yeah.
That's a given, right? I find it really funny that one of the other givens is that, oh, we've been around for a long time, or people talk about themselves first
Mm.
rather
Yes.
than their customer first.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit more because visibility, I think, can be done while still talking about the ideal customer
Mm.
and not so much about look at me, look at me.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think a lot of times people miss the mark when they talk about the problems they solve or the solution they solve, versus just talking about who I am. And I think that's a good point. When you talk about visibility, visibility doesn't have to be let's turn the light and the shine it on me, the business owner,
Right?
right? It's not a me fest, if you will.
Yeah.
It's about the solution. It's about the transformation. It's about the hope that you can provide for the people who
Mm.
work with you. And so it's really important to get that message clear because, when you think about content writing or messaging for marketing, most oftentimes than not, that's the thing that they miss, is that they're not telling the story of the transformation, and people can't
That's good.
relate to that. So when they're reading an article or they're reading a post or they're reading an ad, whatever it might be, if the person reading it can't see themselves in that message or resonate with that emotion or feeling or transformation, then they're not going to quote unquote buy, right? Because it
Mm.
doesn't seem like it fits for them. So you have to be really clear on your why, your who and your why, because you should be able to speak directly to that person. And then they're going to follow through and say, yes, this is me. I need to talk to you. So that's really important.
That's a great piece because when you put that into visibility, right? Your visibility can be getting in front of them
Yeah.
because what do they want to know? They believe they're the smartest person in the world or they're the best thing. I had a girlfriend that told me this great story of her sitting in an airport talking to someone. She asked a bunch of questions. They talked about themselves. She had to leave for the plane, and they're like, wait, 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 you're the most interesting person I've ever spoken to. But they didn't know anything about her. They talked about themselves the entire time,
Yeah.
which is like, that's exactly what, we only care about us.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it sounds terrible, but your buyers don't care about you. They care about themselves
Yeah.
and how you can help them.
Yeah, and that's why so many times, It's so important to share stories from past clients, right?
Mm,
You call them testimonials, case studies, whatever you want to call them. But I think when you can truly have somebody else speak your brand,
mm,
I think that's where the beauty of visibility comes in, because it's not just coming from you, or, it's not just coming from somebody from your team, but when someone else can speak so kindly of you and speak about the work that you've done for them, that's going to just tenfold the visibility for you, because
I love
not
it.
only are you, getting that recommendation, the personal recommendation, but then you're also opening yourself to a whole new audience, because their people are going to start to, like, who is this? What is she talking about? Or what is he talking about? Like, I need to
Exactly.
know more about this person.
Exactly. Hey, so we've talked a lot about visibility in very conversational terms and really brought some light on for it. But you have a methodology that you use that you call the four C's.
Yeah.
Can you highlight that a little bit?
Sure. So the four C's are clarity, confidence, consistency, and conversion. And
Ah,
so it really talks about kind of those two layers of visibility that I talked about, the clarity of understanding who and why, and then the confidence. So getting aligned with being okay with being visible, like being confident in yourself, being confident in your offer, being confident in your brand.
and
And
the
then
messaging and
yeah,
everything
all of
else,
those
right?
things, right?
It's not just, and I think the commonness of this, not to go off a rabbit
Yeah.
hole here, but it's again, it's not you having to be in the camera and talking, but it's having everything align
Yeah.
with that. So I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So clarity, confidence, and then the third C is consistency. And I
Mhm.
think this is probably one of the most important
Yes.
that people miss, because sometimes people will get these ambitious ideas of, I'm going to do all of these things. This is my visibility strategy. But in reality, they can only maintain that for maybe 30 days, right? They have like this huge list of things they're going to do, all of the things. But what I always advise is I'd rather you do less and be consistent at it, and then layer the next thing onto it, because consistency is key. You build your
Ah,
brand over time. And so the more consistent you can be with your social content, with your video content, with your messaging, whatever it might be, the more it's going to have longevity, and people are going to relate to it because they're going to see it over and over again.
right. It used to be that they'd say years ago that it took 6, 7, 10
Yes.
pieces to see you. And now in our like abundance and hyper speed life of where we are on the internet and everything, our
Yeah.
phones, everything hitting you, it's now up to 20 plus times
Oh,
before
yeah.
they even recognize you the first time.
Yes. It's
So if you
crazy.
do one and done and you're like, okay, I
I
posted,
did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're done. It did nothing.
Yeah, so consistency is so, so important. And like I said, I'd rather you do less and do it consistently than doing 5, 10 things and then drop the ball, and then you become overwhelmed and like all of these things. You feel like nothing's working, and what are my next steps, because you've burnt yourself out with trying to
Right.
do all the things. So pick one, do it consistently. Once you have that as like second nature, then layer on the next one.
Ah, really, really good advice on that, right? I love it. All right, so
Yeah.
what's the fourth?
So the final C is conversion. So
Mm.
that's where all these pieces come together. You've got your clarity, you've got your confidence, you've got your consistency. And with those all working together, you're going to start to see the conversion of people reaching out to you. Your message is resonating. You're starting to get leads and clients, because when you put all those pieces together, it's a flywheel, right? Like you have to have
Mm.
that motion that goes. And once you have that consistent motion, that's when business comes to you.
Love it. And so in reality, one of those bad things that come out of marketing that I hear so many times from customers is that it didn't work or it took too long, right? I think your consistency and clarity and everything that you're talking about here really is important because it does take time, but it
Yeah.
doesn't take forever. And
Right.
I think that if you're doing things right, you can start to see those conversions
Absolutely.
quicker,
Yeah.
consistently if you continue through the flywheel, as you said.
Yeah, well, and I think too, to your point, I think with more technology that's coming into play, things start to move faster, right? Like
Mm.
prior to AI technology, if we were talking about SEO specifically, it could take 12 months, 18 months before you would start to see any return on your SEO efforts, right? So think about that now as we pull into the chat GPT and the AI technology. Now we've got the AEO approach, right? And so we're starting to see quicker return on the AEO, which is basically search engine for AI technology, so much more quickly. So think about that with everything else and all these other campaigns that we're doing. It's not going to be instant. I'm not going to tell you that because, like I said before, right? I'm not going to give you false hope. It's still going to take time, and you're going to have to run through consistent strategies and make sure that you're reviewing what's working because sometimes, like we said, things are going to shift. So you're going to have to shift as well in your marketing. But I think overall, in general, things are going to start to happen quicker than they
I
have in the
love it.
past just because of the technology that we
And
have.
I think that's what business owners today need to know and welcome, right?
Yeah.
Because in the past, I mean, I don't know about you, I don't know about your clients, but my clients don't have really deep pockets to wait 12 to 18 months
Yes.
before their marketing plan starts to pay off, right? They're
Yeah.
going to kick somebody to the curb after 3 months and go, you suck, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So knowing that it moves faster, but the opposite is that if you don't do anything, then you're not going to have the visibility and be seen.
Yeah. And I think the key to that, what you just said, is doing the right things.
Mm,
Right? Because for somebody, like you said, for a smaller solopreneur, a huge SEO plan may not be the best fit for them,
no.
right? If they need quick wins, they need a different approach, right? If they need to build revenue before they can invest in other things, then they have a whole different strategy. So it's like people who see the external, like their competitors or they see other companies doing these things, that's great, but that might not work for you. That might not be what you specifically need. So you
I
have to
love it.
be really clear on doing what works for you, not just doing what you see other people doing.
Well said. And
Yeah.
full circle, it starts off in saying it has to be personalized for the client and the company and their audience. So,
Yeah.
really good. Tori, this has been fantastic. I love the conversation. I think you've opened our eyes on what visibility really means and how
Yeah.
many different avenues and choices and opportunities there are for today's business. So, it's really, really good. But I'm going to ask you one thing. So, the audience now that's all excited about this, how can they find out more about you and your visibility?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So I have a visibility quiz, which is a free quiz that you can go to my website, creativemarketingconsulting.com. And up in the top, you'll see visibility quiz. You can take that quiz, and it's about 15 questions, so it's pretty quick.
Okay.
And that'll give you a good perspective of these three categories that I've broken visibility down into. And it'll help you identify which of these categories you need some help and direction in cleaning up or working on your visibility. And so it'll give you instant results right at the end of it to tell you where you are in each of those categories. So I'd love for anyone to go to creativemarketingconsulting.com, take the free visibility quiz.
Awesome. Well, that's great because you know what? We all need a little something, something to figure it out. And now that we're, turning the year, right? And thinking about what we're going to do for 2026, this is a perfect time to
Yeah,
go, hey, where am I kind of weak and what kind of gaps do I have and what opportunities can I jump into?
absolutely.
And then to reach out and say, hey, maybe I need a little guidance and direction because we know business owners, you're not alone on an island. You really should have partners that help you achieve these goals. It cuts it cuts the shortness or it makes it go faster. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
absolutely.
like you're paying for speed, right?
Yep.
when you have these professionals that can help you do it, and it cuts extra losses. So these kind of investments, even nominal investments, are well worth it. So
Absolutely.
definitely encourage you to go take that quiz and see where your gaps are and see if maybe you need some help to help you get where you need to be. So 2026 will be your year. I
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely. And if anyone wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn, they can find me by my name, Tori Barker. Shoot me a message. I'd love to hear where you are in your business and what your thoughts are on visibility and how I may be able to help.
It's absolutely. And what's the name of your podcast again?
Visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs.
Woohoo! Yay! I love podcasting. This has been so much fun for me to really meet fantastic people, to learn new insights and ideas, and then share those with our audience. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so
Uh,
much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you have picked up some valuable insight and actionable ideas into your business that will help you be more profitable. But before we go, if you are thinking you might want to bring in more of the right clients and keep more of what you earn, go grab my free Profit Booster Growth Map. In just a few minutes, my GPT, it is AI that's helping me do it. You'll see it. It's fun. It's easy, just a handful of questions, but it'll pinpoint your top 3 moves to grow revenue and stop those profit leaks fast. Go get it anytime at profitbooster.biz. And don't forget to subscribe to future shows. You can always find Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast platforms. We're looking forward to more profitable ideas on next week's show, if I can get my mouth to work. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks so much, Tori. This was a lot of fun and very
Thank,
valuable.
thank you, Marcia.